The Doge father brought a chainsaw to Washington, and after 130 days, he's saying goodbye. Today, Trump threw Elon a farewell party, but before it started, he threw a party for Trump.
Numbers have just come out which are rather extraordinary, and I thought I'd play a tape of one of the people who I've respected over the years, from Joe Kiernan and Rick Santelli. This just came out, and we'll just play that for a second.
Personal income is up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations.
Trump wants to be a Fox News anchor. He throws the sound bites, argues with guests. Welcome to Oval Office Primetime tonight. But it was Elon's day.
He's one of the greatest business leaders and innovators the world has ever produced. He stepped forward to put his very great talents into the service of our nation, and we appreciate it. And I just want to say that Elon has worked tirelessly helping lead the most sweeping and consequential government reform program in generations.
$175 billion in waste was doged. Government computers were modernized, and 2% of the workforce accepted very generous severance packages. But we'll always remember Elon when we see the shiny red Tesla. Caroline and Margot took it out for a spin last night, and if you look closely, Stephen Miller's in the back. 47 gave Musk a key to the White House and said he'll be back and forth because Doge is his baby. Just because Musk is leaving doesn't mean Doge is going anywhere. Big Balls is embedded.
This is not the end of Doge, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that it comes with a time limit. But the Doge team will only grow stronger over time. The Doge influence will only grow stronger. I'd liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life. So it is permeating throughout the government, and I'm confident that over time we'll see $1 trillion of savings and a reduction in $1 trillion of waste and fraud reduction.
Elon was in good spirits, but he had a black eye. Who hit him? Must have been a lefty.
Is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so. Yeah, no, I was just horsing around with little X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. It turns out even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did?
Yeah.
X could do it.
Like Musk said, he wasn't the only one this week to take a beating.
This week, there was a video on board a plane that showed the First Lady of France slapping her husband, Emmanuel Macron. Do you have any world leader to world leader marital advice?
Make sure the door remains closed. That was not good.
Yes.
No, I spoke to him, and he's fine too. They're fine. They're two really good people. I know them very well, and I don't know what that was all about, but I know them very well, and they're fine.
What's worse, getting a black eye from your wife or your kid? Probably your wife. CNN says it was Washington that gave him the black eye.
He has a black eye, but don't you think that black eye is also going to become a metaphor for 1,000 articles about his time in Washington? This is a guy who was able to conquer basically every industry that he set out to succeed in, and Washington, D.C. may be the only one where he's going away with a black eye.
Stelter doesn't think Musk succeeded in Washington because Stelter thinks anyone who leaves Washington failed. No. Musk did more in 130 days than politicians do in 3 decades, and then he went back to building cars and rockets. He's not just sulking like he lost a campaign. The New York Times, on Musk's last day, called him a drug addict. Quote, he told people he was taking so much ketamine that it was affecting his bladder. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Adderall. Our very own stupid son of a bitch asked Elon about the Times allegation. Watch.
So, there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between...
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I gotta check my Pulitzer, my Pulitzer counter.
It is.
I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times, let's move on.
There was an actual drug addict who last spring was kind of running the country, and the Times didn't notice. They found cocaine in the White House, and the Times never cared. And they never accused Hunter, but they're accusing Musk with no evidence. CNN jumped in and defended the Times.
I think we have to revisit it and not let it stand alone, because he talks about the Russia hoax. We just have to be very clear that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. The Mueller report did not find collusion, but Mueller was very clear he did not exonerate Trump.
Yeah, so CNN admitted we were right about Biden's brain, the border, inflation, but they just won't let go of the Russia hoax. MSNBC said Musk's more deadly than the Vietnam War.
He talked about bringing the wood chipper to USAID. They have a tracker. 300,000 deaths. According to a Boston University professor, because of the aid cuts so far, 200 of them children. Okay, Vietnam War, y'all remember that? 60,000 U.S. service members died. This is 5 times more deaths.
Cutting spending's a war crime in Washington. Musk doged Sesame Street in Iraq, and they're calling it an atrocity. Anyone who dies in Africa, now it's Elon's fault. And by the way, if there's 300,000 deaths since Doge, where are the bodies? Why doesn't MSNBC have videos of mass graves? A professor is making up numbers so MSNBC can accuse him of genocide and Democrats can open an investigation. That's exactly how hoaxes start.
I think some crimes may have been committed over the past 3 or 4 months, and they are going to come to light. One way or another, we're going to come to light, even if it takes us getting into power again. But we will subpoena people and find out.
Elon puts his 5 companies on ice for 4 months to help cut pork and make government more efficient. And Democrats firebombed his cars and called him a Nazi and accused him of taking drugs. Oh, and as a cherry on top, if they take the House back, they're going to make his life hell and fine his companies. They've already made the world's wealthiest man the Republican Party's biggest donor. And they keep going. They've made themselves the enemy in his eyes. Do you think Musk's going to let this slide?
I think the fundamental moral flaw of the left is empathy for the criminals and not empathy for the victims. Empathy for the criminals, but not empathy for the victims. And there's been way too much of that. That needs to stop. To the president's point, there's been immense judicial overreach that is unconstitutional. That was never intended. And it's undermining the people's faith in the legal system. It needs to stop. It's gone too far.
The country's begging the Democrats to get it together so we can work together for the good of the country. Building and maintaining human civilization's serious business. We can lose this country like that. The Roman Empire, the British Empire, here one day, gone the next. What does it say about how serious the Democrats are when they make Kamala Harris AI czar and spend trillions on windmills that don't work? Wall Street's starting to get it. Here's JP Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon.
The Biden administration is giving all its money to EVs and cars and wasting a lot of money on green stuff, which isn't going to work, and all that. Do you think people in rural cities, do you think people in inner cities thought they were getting anything? Do you think that those people think that the American government is fair and competent and that this was in their best interest? Their schools don't work. They're not getting the skills they need, and you heard that just now. So we've got to acknowledge, and I also call it blue tape. Because, Republicans, you generally don't like red tape. You understand the devastation of it. But, most Democrats, they love it. They want more of it. And they want to make it so confusing you can't even meet the rules, so you get punished and fined afterwards.
If we doge the Democrats, we'd make America so efficient. Imagine what we could accomplish. Elon's building robo-taxis. I saw him in L.A. last weekend. Computerized cars are just picking people up and taking them to dinner. He's building tunnels in Vegas and building rockets to go to Mars, putting chips in people's brains to cure ALS.
It's an incredible privilege to be a part of this and, have someone like Elon Musk, one of the most powerful men in the world, so involved, so interested in affecting my life and people with disabilities right now. I just can't even put it into words. And the guys and gals at Neuralink, they are the hardest workers that I've ever met in my life, and they have such passion for helping people.
We're in the beginning of the AI revolution, and the world's about to change big. We have a pioneer who broke the mold like Rockefeller or Ford or Jobs. Elon's not perfect. Nobody is. But he's not a villain. He's a legend. And if we want successful public servants to serve the country like they used to, instead of lazy lawyers who get elected to Congress and spend all day fundraising and making up lies, we have to support them, whether they're on the right or the left. We shouldn't fight just to fight because they're on the other side. If there's a Democrat billionaire who wants to upgrade the old computers in Washington, we'll back that. We have to be grateful when people help us instead of when they help themselves. This country has to come together so that we don't get left behind.
Okay, guys, if you haven't already, do me a big favor. Hit that thumbs up like button. It tells your algorithm that we're not afraid to speak truth and that you're not buying the mainstream narrative. Now, let's get this straight. Elon Musk temporarily leaves his companies, walks into the federal government, slices $175 billion in waste, upgrades ancient computer systems, and actually streamlines the bureaucracy, and they're calling him dangerous. CNN and MSNBC are calling his reforms literally a war crime. The New York Times is accusing him of drug addiction, while they stayed silent when actual cocaine was found in the White House. The hypocrisy here, guys, it's absolutely staggering as I'm watching this. The man stopped building rockets and Teslas to help the federal government, and they hate him for it. Why? Because he exposed the rot. He proved that Washington isn't broken, it's rigged. And the career politicians, the media elites, and the bureaucratic leeches, they want it that way. Musk walks in, he tells 2% of the workforce that they can take a generous severance, digitizes a broken system, instantly becomes public enemy number one. Why is that when someone succeeds, the media loses its mind? They didn't call Hunter Biden a drug addict when he was flying around with classified intel and prostitutes, but Musk, who actually made the government more efficient, is accused of everything from psychedelics to genocide. MSNBC even said his reforms were more deadly than the Vietnam War. Let me repeat that. More deadly than Vietnam. Where are the mass graves? Where's the outrage over actual government corruption? This isn't journalism, guys. This is propaganda. 100% propaganda. It's a hit job from people who are terrified that the American people might wake up. And here's the kicker, guys. Musk isn't even playing the victim. He's laughing it off, going back to building rockets, brain chips, and AI tech that's going to change the world. Meanwhile, Biden and his administration, his previous administration, all his cronies are continuing to spend trillions of dollars on windmills, and Kamala Harris is somehow in charge of AI. Can you imagine that? Let that sink in for a minute. Kamala Harris was the one in charge of AI. The Democrats are more offended by efficiency than they are by failure. Because if someone like Elon Musk can make government work, then it exposes just how useless they've all been. Guys, this is about control. And when someone threatens that control, when someone shows what actually is possible, they get destroyed. They've made Musk the biggest Republican donor by default, and the more they push, the stronger his influence is going to become. The swamp doesn't fear chaos, it fears competence. So let me ask you guys, do you believe this kind of reform can ever happen again? Or will the system always crush the people who try to fix it? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Is Elon a hero or is he a threat to the establishment? Be sure to subscribe, guys, so that you don't miss the next big truth bomb. And guys, if you want to help keep this channel strong and independent, consider becoming a member today, guys. We're building a movement and it's only just now getting started. God bless you guys. Stay bold, stay informed. This is Nolan Alders signing off.